Hi, Tony Stelzer here. Welcome to Galvanize. I've got Dustin Rule here, my buddy in crime, and we're going to talk about one of our favorite subjects today, focus. Why is that such a big one for you and me?
Because we have 8 million things going on.
Yeah, right. At any given time, at any given offering. I've had this challenge all my whole career. I know that people are like, well, how do you do everything you do, right? I mean, it's like, and I think a lot of times to me, it's a capacity thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, passion allows a lot more capacity. Mm-hmm. So you're very passionate about what you do. I'm very passionate about what I do. And we tend to focus on what we're passionate about. We also tend to muck up a lot of the other things that people are really good at in the rest of their lives. I mean, I'm not good at planning. I got to have somebody help me with a calendar. The basic stuff that's simple for a lot of other people is probably harder for us, right?
Yeah.
But I do think there's this huge fight out there, personal development world, in the business world, and even with some of the entrepreneurs that you're working with, that have 5, 10, 25, $30 million businesses, and they're trying to focus on growing that business. Mm-hmm. Why would they want to invest in real estate? Why do they want to get into another thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about that. So how do you handle the focus word when people always challenge you with that? Because you're doing a lot of deals, you've got a lot of things in the works that Ironclad's about, and starting a marketing company, starting a real estate company, now you're getting into multifamily, you're into some developments. How do you handle that?
Well, I think it comes down to you have to have good partners. Mm-hmm. You also need to hire good people.
Yeah.
And you have to decide on what you're going to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I realized over the last 5-6 years is the more I start putting on my plate, mm-hmm. the less excellence I have. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of the reason why I've hired a team.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of a one-man show for the first three years of being an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And it was fun. I mean, it was fun. Nobody to really report to. Didn't have to look out for anybody but me. But if you really want to grow something, that doesn't last very long. And so for us, I've been able to start taking on more. Start doing things that I really love to do because I've hired a director of operations.
Yep.
I have people handling all of our sales calls.
Yep.
I have somebody handling dispositions, and then I have a virtual assistant handles all of our marketing and things like that. So it's allowed me to be able to look at different opportunities for the business, and so that's been nice.
So your business gets bigger.
Yep.
And you're one of the things I love about you is you're tremendously self-aware, and you're always in really working on becoming more self-aware,
yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And in being self-aware, you start to really understand what can you give away and what are you not good at, right? And we talk in coaching a lot about talent stacks, mm-hmm. right? Listing out loud what are the stacks of your talent and prioritizing your talents on those stacks, right? For you, it's deal making, it's understanding mm-hmm. how to really turn a property into something that maybe there was value that people didn't see, mm-hmm. right? And then focusing, and then I think a lot of what we're doing too is you're building algorithms that are the way you think for other people to operate, right? That's your franchisable thing. So constantly offloading your business. But I want to come back to this. I think we're making it a little easy because I guarantee you there's some naysayers out there. I think there's a couple things that I've seen in coaching so many businesses is, a lot of entrepreneurs think they have the only way to succeed.
Right.
They've found their formula. It was really hard, mm-hmm. and they're very protective of it, as they should be, because it risked everything.
Right.
We put everything on the line. We have struggled to get there. I mean, a lot of times we've risked families' fortunes, right? I've been down to zero twice, mm-hmm. and then built myself back up, and I think that's part of the psyche of staying into what we know how to do and trying to fix everybody else.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I'm about to blow everybody's minds is there's a CEO that is successful in business that looks like every single personality out there. They don't come in molds. They don't come in one way. Yes, they tend to be either visionary or operators. Yes, they tend to be categorized. And the Gallups of the world love to put people in boxes based on statistical, data. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, there's all kinds of successful people.
Absolutely.
There's all kinds of people that I tell you. One of the things that I see as that they're incredibly self-aware. They're incredibly good at delegating and building teams around them. They're incredibly focused on selling the vision and removing distractions for that. And I think, the amount of distractions your team can handle is based on how well the team trust each other. So are they really in it to win it? Are they really there with those congruent goals that are shared with the organization? And I think focus is oversold. That's that's kind of what I would say. I've seen serial entrepreneurs that are able to operate sometimes 2 to 3 businesses at the same time and do it successfully because of that self-awareness. When they have to do everything themselves, it's because they won't let anybody else do anything. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So you've had that thrown at you. So how do you when people throw that back at you and they push at you, how does that make you feel? What do you think about it?
Well, I think there's abundance of being overwhelmed when you get pushed back on the way you're running your business, or and that comes like with just the biggest part is time. And if you have a significant other or spouse, or if you're trying to run 3 or 4 businesses on your own, you're never home. And so obviously that creates a wedge between the most important person in your life. So being able to delegate, being able to hire the right people, which by the way is not easy.
No, and everybody that's ever going to watch this has been burned on that regard, right?
Yeah, and that takes a lot of time.
Yep.
And I've learned that too. And it gets to a point in your business where you have people in the spots, but doesn't mean it's the right spot for them. But you leave them there because you just don't want to spend the time to go find somebody else that's better. That's been for me like the biggest pushback is going outside my comfort zone and realizing, listen, like this person isn't the right person, and then knowing that, hey, if I'm going to take on another opportunity, I got to make sure whoever's involved in that opportunity is the right fit.
And a lot of times I see these guys that are the earners, the guys who run those $2 to $3 million businesses that are trying to get to 10 to 5. It's like they try to hire somebody. They're not committed, right? They're not committed to finding a human being. So they either try to go cheap, or they're convinced no one else can do their job, and they hire somebody that convinces them that no one else can do their job, right? It's like, you believe that no one can do your job, and you believe that no one can do it as well as you. And what did you find? You found somebody who didn't do it as well as you. You affirmed your belief. They don't even know they're trying to do that. It's really a subconscious thing, but it's one of those glass ceilings that holds us back. And then, guess what? Like, one of the things I can tell you about hiring salespeople is, especially in technology side, 1 out of 3 really make it. 1 out of 3 break even. Like 1 out of 5 guys in technology sales right now are making quota.
Wow.
I mean, that's so it's a bad model, especially if it's and a lot of times when businesses are in that first level of growth where they're trying to hire a salesperson. I've been the first salesperson for 3 software companies, and I can tell you it's like the worst job in America. There's no sales process. There's no leads. There's no, they don't even know who they should sell to. It just kind of grew on accident, right? They partnered with a client to build something. And so they really don't know how to go to market. And a lot of times, so they'll take that one, they hire their most friendly friend. The engineer does, right? That guy's got a lot of friends, and he's, he likes to talk to people because that's what they think selling is, right? And it's just a train wreck, doesn't it? It's just like horrible. And they let it go too long, and then everybody's pissed, and no one wants to do it again. They're convinced they're the only ones who can sell it. And yet there's all kinds of big businesses out there that are really big size. So I'm going to throw this back to you. It's like one of the things that we both read is this book called The One Thing, right? And The One Thing is about like getting down clearer and clearer about your focus. And I couldn't do it. I don't think you could either, right? We could not.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
And so one of the things I think, if you're one of those sales guys, if you're marketing guys, if you're more on the visionary side of being an entrepreneur, you need an intersection. You need hey, how do all the things that I love, really come together to make a new focus for me? And if it's not in that intersection, then I don't do it, right? You found that, right? Yeah. I mean, talk about your intersection. Where is that for you? It
comes down to me is like, okay, being within a small company of 7, we do high transactions, but it's for me not getting in the way of sales, because that's where I grew up.
Right.
You know, and so and I have a really hard time butting in, you know, when I already have somebody handling that's very capable. Mm-hmm. And then another thing is like operations. I'm not an operations person, but sometimes I find myself getting involved there because I don't think something's getting done the way I want it to get done.
Yep.
And so part of the reason for me finding other things to do outside of business is to keep myself
from screwing up
on something that's already doing well.
Yeah.
So that's why I found myself getting into development, you know, by accident. You know, it's not, I wouldn't say accident. It's just it's knowing. Number one, like they say, like, you know, your surroundings or the people you know is kind of the.
You're the 15% sum with your 5 closest.
Correct.
Friends, right?
Correct. And so I fell into an opportunity to be able to look at going and developing a piece of property, which is going to be really cool. And so I've been able to focus on that, which has kept me out of this, our current business a little bit more. And then obviously we're doing construction. We started to do some marketing, and so. But the big part of it is if you're going to do that, you have, like, you know, the cross point of it is you have to be well aware of who you're working with. Well, and you know that's as important. Your partner is as important as it's like hiring somebody.
Well, I think because I kind of caught you off guard. I think your intersection is you saw the deal, so you see the deal that's there, the players in the deal, you know you can sell it, right?
Okay.
And it's in real estate.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's like, I mean, whether it's a construction company, whether it's the development, whether it's the real estate, that's where you hone your skills. Because your talent stack of assessing people, understanding where you can stick your talents in, and then get in and out to contribute at a high level, right?
Yep.
Is what you recognize. Like you're the kicker that knocks the 47-yard field goal to win the game. You come in, it's a big deal. You're highly paid. You make the one do, and everybody wins.
Yeah.
And that's why that's your point. It's your intersection of focus. For me, it's been marketing, sales, and technology. Right? It's those are the intersection. And when you find that for yourself, to me, it lets the guys like you and me that are more ADD oriented or been accused of that. I mean, there's the focus word is thrown away out there too much, in my opinion, because people think they've got it when they're capable sometimes of less of what you're good at. A lot of people would use that comparing to you, but I think also what happens is, you know, when you achieve that success and you're trying to replicate stuff in your business, you tend to hire another you. And if you hire another you that's 7 years behind you, that person's never going to be better at you than anything. Does that make sense? Because they are 7 years of experience behind you. And so the real power in being self-aware and building teams is to build people who have talent stacks that are complementative to you, which means comparing your strengths to them, they're going to be weak, and that is our nature, right? I mean, that's really the leap forward is to be that next level of self-aware, and a lot of us can't get our head around that.
No, one of the biggest and hardest things as a business owner is, and you did this in sales. I learned this in sales early on when I started managing sales teams. Was Dustin, they're not going to be like you. You know, you're in this position for a reason. You want to develop them to be, you know, mirror you, but they're not. People aren't going to always do it your way. Yeah. And it's, so because it's not your way doesn't mean it's not. It's wrong. And I think that's the hardest thing when you're hiring people.
Well, you and I have gone through this with your team. As we use a lot of personal assessments called Colby. Yeah. Colby testing, and we really are a believer in that, in understanding how to help people. To really understand how to manage them, how to recruit them, how to lead them, and in their mode of operandum, what are they the most strong at? And that's what you've done, and that's the way you're starting to build your teams, and you're seeing that synergy off of each other. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
If you're an entrepreneur and you're getting beat up a little bit for the focus thing, and you've got you're getting advised to limit your focus and get it down to one thing, or you're thinking about diversification in your own business, you're thinking about taking on a new project, we would offer that a better way to assess yourself is, instead of really understanding what is the one thing that you're good at, is maybe get an awareness of your talent stack. List out your talents in order of importance. You can't really have more than 4 or 5, right?
Right. No.
You know, and is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it deal making? Is it pipeline development? If you're a marketing guy, is it org structure? Is it recruiting? Is it team building? Is it mission making? Whatever it is, right? Just put down the words, and then ask yourself: are you spending your time focused on those things? Is 80% of your time focused on those things? Because when your time is spent that way, when your calendar reflects what you're really good at, it's really hard to stop your business from growing. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how much of your day is spent on deal making?
All day.
Right.
All day.
And that's why you've been able to grow, is because you spend your time, you go where you glow. You spend your time in your business where you're really good. And I think that's one of the reasons you can bob and weave with some of the struggles that happen with a small business. You've been able to grow because you've always got that going. Is that fair?
Yeah. Well, sales solves a lot of problems.
It does. It does. I mean, it's hard. It certainly improves the hierarchy of your problems, right?
Yeah.
Right. When you've got the revenue there. So the focus thing, if it's something you're struggling with as an entrepreneur, reach out to us through our email here and or Ironclad, and come in and talk to us. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.